we go. All right, we got a lot of people coming in. This is so much fun. Oh, hi, Lorraine. Lindsay B, you are in all your winter gear. It's freezing. Oh gosh. It's a little chilly, but probably not to you. I'm in short sleeves. Okay, welcome everybody. We'll get started in just a minute. And this is going to be a conversation. So I don't want to just talk at you for 30 minutes. So I'm going to be asking you lots of questions, and please either unmute yourself or type in the chat box because I want to hear from you too. So I don't actually know how long I will be talking, but I'm hoping that it's 20 minutes and then we can do Q&A. And for the last 10, I didn't time it, but I'll watch my timer. But please respond back and forth so that I'm not just talking at you. Which during class, that's kind of normal, but it's so fun when you guys respond. So we love that. All right, we have Helen, Christina, Mary, Allie, Lori, Lindsay, Lorraine, Alyssa, Kay, Dawn, whoops, popping in, now I'm losing you all. Aaron, Tony, Amy G, Leslie S. Popping, oh, there's Val. Hi, Rebecca. Morgan is here. Welcome, everybody. Happy Wednesday. All right, we're here for wellness lunch. Who's hungry for lunch? I haven't eaten yet, actually. I had a big snack because I knew this was coming up. And so I didn't want to be starving and trying to talk to you all. So I did eat some salami and cheese. That helped a lot. All right, Jennifer's here. Welcome, everyone. I might not get a chance to say hi to everybody because as you all pop in, y'all shift around the screen a little bit. Hi, Cam. I feel like I haven't seen some of you in a while. Hi, Kathleen. All right, so welcome. It is Wellness Lunch Wednesday. That's a new thing for today. So I'm super glad that you all signed up. We have about a half hour today to talk to each other. And I was telling some of the people that came in first that I really want it to be a conversation. So I want you to please participate, type in the chat box. If you want to unmute yourself and you feel comfortable, we're all friends here, right? We see each other every day, multiple times a day. So we are friends here. We can feel comfortable and talk to each other. And I want to hear from you and give feedback. And if you have questions or if you kind of want to give your 2 cents, I have a lot of questions I'm going to be asking. So what we're going to do today is, if I haven't met you, I feel like I've met all of you really, but I'm Lauren. I'm a registered dietitian. So I've been doing that for 11 years, and I've worked in quite a variety of fields, from long-term care facilities to WIC to medical weight loss. And then now I'm here where I'm finally super happy, where I can do more of intuitive eating and help people heal their relationship with food and find foods that make them feel good and help it support exercise, as opposed to putting anybody on a very unsustainable diet, because that really just doesn't end well. But we're not going to get into that today. We're going to cover 2 things today, which I feel like we could talk forever. But the 2 things that we're going to do, oh, well, that's the wrong side. Here we go. Is talking about honoring your hunger. So that will be part 1. And then the part 2, we'll get into our lunch ideas. And then I'm just going to kind of show you what I typically, things that I have on hand. I know sometimes we get questions about what kind of chips or crackers, or lunch is kind of a tricky meal for people because it's a busy time of day, or you're at work, or your kids are busy. And a lot of us are moms and we're busy and we don't take time to sit and enjoy a meal. Right? Do you just eat your kids' leftovers? Did you even get to eat? Probably not. So if you're really hungry, start eating. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead. Hi, Cheryl. And hi, Lori. Hi, Deanna. I'm going to go ahead and start with honoring your hunger. So I just wanted to read something to you really quick. And this comes from my basically dietitian Bible, which is called Intuitive Eating. It has been around for 25 years. And it's just a self-care approach to how you take care of yourself and how you honor your body by feeding it and by moving it. So I just want to talk about honoring your hunger, since we're probably hungry here. So I just want to read this little excerpt to you because it stands out to me so much. So this is the 2nd principle in their series. I'm not going to get into all of them because there's 10 and it takes a long time. Oh, good. Good. Val's cooking. I love it. All right. So keep your body biologically fed with adequate energy and carbohydrates. I know that sounds scary. Don't be scared of carbohydrates. Otherwise, you can trigger a primal drive to overeat. Once you reach the moment of excessive hunger, all intentions of moderate conscious eating are fleeting and irrelevant, right? I think we've all been there. You get so hungry, you just grab whatever. And it probably happens more often than we would like it to. Learning to honor this first biological signal sets the stage for rebuilding trust with food and yourself. So I want to go ahead and talk to you about how you are the expert of you. And so your body is your home, right? You have to take care of it. And one of those things is treating it with respect by feeding it and feeding it consistently, right? We can't run on zero. Our bodies are meant to eat, and they're meant to eat often. And so when we skip meals or when we're not eating enough food, you may not even be conscious, but what it does is it triggers these biological responses to make us overeat later. Maybe we're in a bad mood, maybe we're irritable, maybe you feel out of control around food. And it's honestly just your body's way of telling you, like, you need to eat more. So before we even worry about any of the nutrition, I like to start people off with making sure that they're honoring their hunger and feeding themselves consistently. So because you are the expert of you, you get to decide what you eat, when, how much, where you eat, and you just have to make it work for you, right? There's so many different things that determine what foods make us feel best. We all have different energy needs. So what I eat versus what some of you might eat might be totally different. We have different metabolisms, different genetics, maybe we have different health needs, right? Sometimes we can't eat certain foods. Maybe some of us function better with more carbs and others don't. So you just have to get curious, just kind of explore what works for you. And then we have our own taste preferences. So you have to keep that in mind of what you like is not going to be what someone else likes. And then I don't know, did anybody go to Melanie's talk yesterday where she went over like the I am statements and how good they were? So one of them that I want you to keep in mind. Now, I might be telling you guys this and you're like, I totally feed myself often and I do great with food and it's no big deal. Then I am so happy for you, because that is what I wish for every single person, is that you have a good relationship with food and it doesn't take up a ton of mental energy, or that you feel bad about the things that you eat. My wish is that everyone can just eat without any guilt attached to it. So I just want you to remind yourself, if this is something that you ever do struggle with, remind yourself, I deserve to eat and I feel good when I am nourished. So just some of those I am statements. I am deserving of eating. And it might sound silly to some people if you do it really like second nature, but it's not for some. Sometimes people punish themselves by not eating, or if we're feeling down or don't look a certain way like we'd like to, we punish ourselves by not fueling our bodies, and that only backfires. So just remember that phrase, I deserve to eat and I feel good when I am nourished. All right, so I want to go ahead and go into what is called an activity. So this is where you can get your typing fingers ready. All right, we're going to do the hunger scale. If you want to just raise your hand, has anybody ever heard of a hunger scale or like a hunger fullness scale? Okay, so this is where I help people kind of tune into when they approach a mealtime or when they're in the middle of a mealtime or at the end of where your hunger is at. So it goes from a scale from 0 to 10. So 0 to 2 means that you're like painfully hungry. You are ravenous. You are very hungry and you really need to eat right now. Okay, so I want you to think, is that where you're at right now? You can type in your number. So that means you're over hungry, 0 to 2. A normal eating range would be about 3 to 7. So you're kind of hungry, you're ready to eat, but you can still you can wait a little bit, you can make a good choice. Your stomach's kind of slightly empty. Maybe you're neutral, you're not hungry, you're not full. That would be considered a 5. Then when we start to hit 7, 8, 9, 10, we're getting comfortable fullness. 7, all the way up to 8, you're getting a little too full. Up to 10, you are painfully full, you are stuffed, and you do not feel well. Like nobody likes that feeling, right? I am all about eating a good amount of food, but feeling uncomfortable is super not fun. All right, so go ahead and put your numbers in there. Think about it for a minute. And if you're on the East or West Coast like me, I'm in California, it's about lunchtime. So I'm probably like a 4. 3 or 4, I don't know. I'm sort of in that range. If you are on the East Coast, maybe you already ate lunch, but you're still getting hungry. What do we have? Okay. Oh, this is good. Okay. So no one's like dying of starvation yet. This is good. We've got 4, we've got 8s, 5s, perfect. 4, 6, 5, 4. Okay. So maybe some of us just ate. Maybe some of you are kind of getting ready for lunch. A 7, and a 7 is a good place to be. Okay, fun. So this is good. So this is something that you can do during the day to just check in with yourself, especially if you notice you're someone that goes a long time without eating, and then you find yourself in this ravenous state. I know we kind of talked about this in our nutrition group, where you know better, but then you go to prep dinner and what are you doing? Just like eating everything right before dinner because we did not plan well. I am super guilty of it too. So by no means am I perfect at this all of the time. Oh, good. Okay, Cheryl's eating lunch. I like it, Cheryl. All right, perfect. Now, what does hunger feel like to you? So go ahead and put that in there too. What is hunger? Is it that your stomach's growling? Is it that you're lightheaded? Are you dizzy? Are you starving? What kind of cues to yourself does it mean when you're actually hungry? And if I didn't say hi, I see Lisa, Corey, Heather, Danny, Allison, Casey, Bridget, Arlene, Brittany, Amanda. All right, we've got some stomach growling. Good, low energy or a headache. Good. Oh, belly's empty. Yeah, that's a good sign of hunger. Okay, often mistake thirst for hunger. Ooh, stomachs are growling, irritable. Okay, yes, these are all good signs. So sometimes people have kind of lost touch. It sounds like you guys are pretty like tuned in. Okay, low energy, good. Tired, your tummy's feeling hungry, you're lightheaded. It feels empty. Yeah, if you're really hungry, grouchy, for sure. Okay, good. So those are a lot of these things, like sometimes the growling, sorry, there's a little bug, or grumbling noises are kind of towards the end. Like we may have almost gotten too far. So if you start to even notice, like, what if you say, oh, I'm not going to eat because my stomach isn't growling? Well, what if that's not the only sign that you have? Maybe you look for, it's hard to concentrate. I'm feeling a little bit lightheaded. Maybe I'm a little dizzy. I have a little bit of a headache. I'm getting irritable. You kind of want to look for those signs before you get to that point, right? Don't eat based on just of the time or when you last ate your meal. Focus in that moment. Where am I at right now? Maybe you were super active today. Our metabolisms change, our hunger changes day to day. And so if you were like, maybe you ate more yesterday and you're not as hungry today, that's okay. So just continue. But the main idea is not going more than about 5 hours without food, because then you're kind of asking to get in trouble. Oh, good. Okay. So sometimes certain medications can suppress your appetite, but that's good. Make sure you continue to eat. Yes. And sometimes what may happen too is if anyone has felt like you've lost touch with that hunger, sometimes when I counsel clients, they're like, I don't even know if I'm hungry anymore. There could be a few reasons for that. Maybe you've been kind of numbing that hunger with like what we call fluff foods, maybe like diet drinks or carbonated water or rice cakes or things that don't really fill you up, but it's kind of a temporary fullness. Maybe you've dieted for a long period of time. And so over time, if you deprive your body for long enough, it will turn off those signals because that's like a secondary response. So if your body's like, okay, I don't even have the energy to grumble anymore, you may not even recognize when that hunger is coming in. And believe me, you can learn to get these things back, but it may have stopped temporarily. Another problem, or not problem, but another thing may be that if you're constantly eating all day and you never get totally satisfied or you never let yourself get super hungry, you may not be into those cues as much either. So maybe just kind of taking a break and checking where you're at. I know this probably is common for a lot of people. I know for my husband specifically, if there's a lot of chaos or there's a lot of stress, we kind of go one of two ways. We don't eat or we stress eat. And so it kind of goes one way or the other. And we're just different. People are just different, just different responses. But if you notice you have a lot of that stress in your life or it's really chaotic and you don't get a chance to eat, those hunger signals may be suppressed. Also, this one's a little bit more deep, so we won't go totally into it, but there's been trauma in your life. This can continue on for a long time, and you may have lost touch with some of those hunger and fullness signals as well. And then lastly, if your self-care really isn't there, if your basic needs aren't being met, which we talk about this in VFit a lot, but if you're not getting enough water, enough sleep, enough self-care time, you are probably going to lose touch with that connection to your body. So there's a reason that food is in those basic needs. Like we need to feed ourselves, we need to eat, we need to sleep, we need to take care of ourselves. So if some of those things get really left out, that could follow as really not being in tune with our bodies anymore. And the reason I'm not addressing fullness today is because that's kind of its own topic as well. So today we're just talking about hunger. Maybe at some point, if you're like, I don't know when I feel full or I get way too full, I can't register, we can totally address that at another time. Yes. Oh, yes. Okay. Bridget makes a really good point. There's a couple of people that said something. I swap out needing a break from work with feeling hungry. So that was something I was going to bring up. Perfect. And then, you know, if you just are trying to, so actually I'll just address that now. So sometimes we eat for reasons other than actually biological hunger, and that's fine, right? Sometimes we eat out of taste hunger. Something just looks so good. Or you go to a party and you're not starving, but there's cookies there. It's okay to eat that way sometimes. It's normal and we want to enjoy food. Sometimes we have to eat out of practical hunger, because if you know you're going to go work a 5-hour shift and you can't eat, you probably need to fill up, even if you're not super starving, because you're just being practical and smart about it. And then lastly, there might be emotional eating factors. And we eat emotionally for celebrations. We sometimes eat if we're sad, if we're stressed, or like Bridget pointed out, which I love, we're procrastinating or we're bored with whatever task we're doing. And so we go and eat something else. It happens, right? Might not even be conscious, but that's what's happening. And so there's a whole list of reasons that we might do that. And it's just getting curious, like what's going on right now? What do I actually need? Is it food? And if it is food, that's fine. You go and eat something. If it's not food, how do we respond? Do we need to step outside? Do we need a glass of water? Do we need to call a friend? Sometimes we feel lonely, you know, like even especially with COVID, like it's getting better, but we weren't around a lot of people. So maybe you just need connection with somebody. Maybe you're feeling stressed and you need help. So who can you go ask for help? Can you ask your husband? Can you get a babysitter? Maybe you need some me time. So there's other things, and it's just about getting curious. There's no judgment about the way you eat. You just get curious about what you're doing. And so when we do deny our hunger, though, that can really lead to overeating. I don't know if you guys have experienced this at all, but we talked about a little bit. If you keep denying that, your body's going to make up for it later. And so whether it's in that day, or maybe it's a week later, or it's been months of depriving yourself, at some point your body's going to tell you to stop. And it's called rebound eating. So you're going to feel like you're constantly in this ravenous state and that you have no willpower over any of your food. But that's not the case. It's really, truly just our body's way of telling us we need to eat more. All right, I'm gonna check oh yes. Oh, good, Lisa, I'm glad you like it. Yes, teachers, I feel you. I feel you, teachers, because you literally have to eat on your very tiny break and probably I'm sure other occupations. But I do know that school has been really hard. Like you just have your recess. I just talked to a teacher friend and she's like, I'm not hungry at lunchtime. She's like, but then I eat a ton when I get out of school. I'm like, just be practical and preventative and just eat on your lunch break. Just do it. It will pay off later. And she's like, okay. All right. This is good. I like all of your input. Oh yes, Val, right? Bring on the sugary carbs. I'm hungry. All right, so we're doing good. Yay, it's 12:47. Does anybody have any questions about any of the content that we just chatted about? I need water. And you can always ask me later. All right, let's talk about some lunch ideas. So like I said earlier, I feel like lunch is a really tricky time. Yes, Evelyn.
I do have a question. So you're talking about the carbs. So
yes.
I mean, you're talking about good carbs. So you're very, very active, like all day long with the exercise and teaching. And then, so someone that's retired and less active as you, should we eat less carbs? Or is there a way to balance? Should we eat less carbs? Because you probably need a ton of carbs for energy.
Yes, and you know what, that's true. Yes, you can eat less if you're not as active. You still need them for functioning of your brain and your body's function.
Yeah.
But if you're not burning as many, you can eat less.
Yeah, because when you had that, Maria, and you had that pie, the scale, they had a lot of carbs. And I was like, God, I wonder if I don't need as much as you and Maria, that's for sure. I try to stay active, but no way can I stay as active anymore. But But anyway, okay, so a little bit less is okay.
Yeah, and carbs
Yeah.
can come from like vegetables. So it doesn't have to be like you're eating a giant half plate of pasta.
Right.
You know?
Okay.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
you can always
Carbs.
think about it that way too.
Good
But
carbs.
there is, we just have different stages of life. And so as you get older, we might just have less needs.
Yeah. Okay.
Lauren,
Yeah.
I have a question too.
Yes.
Can you
Hi,
hear-
Dawn.
Hi. So I am a big smoothie person in the morning. And I'm always full from it because I put so much in it. But when I eat breakfast, then I'm hungry like all day long and I can't stop eating. And so what is it about the liquid breakfast versus a complete meal that my body doesn't agree with?
Do you
Because
find
I
that,
bonk.
do you feel like it's just when you have the smoothie?
If I have smoothies every day of the week, it gets me through to lunch. But if I have breakfast, like within an hour or two, I'm hungry immediately, and it could be a substantial breakfast. That's what I don't understand. What is it about the food versus the liquid?
Oh, that's an interesting comment. That's a good question. I don't
Okay.
know. And I don't know what all is in there, or if your body is processing something differently, or if it's the content of the food. Typically, I hear when people eat breakfast, you're hungrier for the rest of the day, which is true and how it's supposed to be. And so I totally get what you're saying. But that's interesting. I might have to think about that. I don't know what it is exactly about the smoothie versus what you're eating. It could be too, if it's like more filling, or if you're putting in like more protein, and when you eat breakfast, it's like more of a simple carb like toast and it goes through more quickly. I didn't think so. I was like, you probably have a pretty balanced breakfast. So that is interesting, because I find I don't always hear that. I usually hear that the smoothies, like the liquid meals, don't satiate people as much. So I don't know. I'll think about it, Dawn. Definitely. All right. Yeah, that's a good question. I'm going to think about that one. Okay, my thoughts on intermittent fasting. So I think that people need to eat however best fits their lifestyle. So if you're not a morning person and you're just really not hungry and you feel like you eat well during the rest of the day, the rest of the hours, then that's fine. But if you're doing it purely for weight loss and you feel like you have to have set food rules, like I can't eat before noon, even though I want to, I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't think we need to eat all hours of the day, like 7 a.m. until 10 p.m. But if you're hungry, you can. So I think it's just about being flexible with the food. And if you find you're hungry one day and it's out of those intermittent fasting hours, then go ahead and just eat something. So that's my input. I think if there's any strict food rules, I would say no. But if it naturally works for your lifestyle, then you can do that, because it just works for some people. But I like to eat breakfast, so. Okay. All right. Should we move on to lunch? Okay. Does anybody want to share what they brought for lunch, if you did bring lunch, or if you brought a snack? Let's flip this on over, because I know some of you are actually eating, and I know, hi Arlene, yes, share. And you guys can just unmute yourselves.
I made, so I'm vegan. I made a, what's called a tempeh Reuben, like sauteed some Reuben in spices. And then I did it on like one of those living lettuce wraps with, I made a Thousand Island dressing and some sauerkraut.
That sounds so good. I feel like we need like a recipe swap. That sounds delicious.
It's really good.
I love it. Okay, thank you for sharing. All right, we've got chicken noodle soup, PB&J, oranges, peppers, son's leftover pasta. That sounds about right, Allie. Mixed green salad, veggies, and turkey, leftover tri-tip and veggies. Yum. Oh my gosh, falafels. I love it.
I
Okay.
have quiche, feta cheese, spinach, and sun-dried tomatoes.
Yum. These all sound so good. Okay, we've got orange yogurt, almonds. Okay, good. I'm glad everyone's eating lunch. I like what I'm seeing. Okay, so I'm going to ask you a question now. Oh yes, grilled cheese. Oh, Thai curry. Okay, guys, I gotta stop reading. All right, so I want to know, how did you decide what you were going to eat today? Maybe not all day. We'll just talk about this one meal. What was it that decided for you? Like, how do you decide? Is it the nutrition? Is it because it's health? Was it convenience? Is it routine? Do you eat the same thing every day? So put that in there. What usually makes your food choices for you? And was it something that you truly wanted, whatever you ate for lunch? If we're at like 4 o'clock your time, think back to your lunchtime. Is it something that you wanted to eat? Or was it something that you felt like you just should have because it's a healthy item? Okay, health first.
I was going to say, we normally meal prep for the week.
Yeah.
And so, or usually if it's not meal prep, we at least know like what meals we're eating. And lunch always is a struggle because if we don't have something laid out, we won't. So usually it's just leftovers of something we've had over the week.
Yeah, lunch is a struggle. That's good. I'm glad you have leftovers available, because that's one of the things that's really helpful, right? When you're stuck and nothing sounds good and you don't know what to do, but you need something quick. Okay, so mostly on flavor, what sounds good, and then add veggies. Lindsay B, I love it. I do the same thing. All right, make enough at dinner for the next day, routine, easy, the way it tastes, convenience. Ooh, Rebecca's husband cooks. Rebecca, I like it. Okay, had what her kids were eating. That happens often. Crackers and cheese out of convenience, leftovers, just whatever I find. Okay. Sometimes it's health, sometimes it's time, sometimes it's what you feel like. All right. So we've got kind of a wide variety, but I think we can relate to all of the answers that are there, right? It was fast. Yes, fast. I feel like that's one of the things that we tend to do, especially at lunchtime. And then what does your, what sounds good to you? So some people mentioned that they eat out of flavor. Some put health, some put convenience. So I want you to just take a moment, and this is a fun practice you can do before you eat meals. We don't always have this luxury. So I do understand that. I don't do this every time, but I try. You get better and better at it. And just kind of picture, you could even close your eyes and just be like, what do I really want right now? Like, what is my body craving? Do I want something that's crunchy? Do I want something salty? Do I want something smooth, sweet, savory, hot, cold? Do I want something that's going to really fill me up so I can feel nice and satisfied? Or do I just want something that's kind of light? So based on what you imagined, and if you can, try to make a good food match with that. So say you were like, oh, I want something creamy and cheesy and filling. Oh, what about like mac and cheese? That would fill all of those categories. Would you actually eat that food that you came up with? Right? Like if you were craving, like you just wanted mac and cheese today for lunch, would you actually go forward and eat that meal? Or would there be something that would kind of hang you up from choosing that food that you actually wanted? So go ahead and put in your thoughts there. Whatever you might have imagined, would you make that food match? Or would you try to kind of ignore what you really wanted and eat something else? Obviously, if you're imagining like your favorite meal at a restaurant and it was impossible to get, that's another story. But say you had it at your home. Okay, Alyssa probably wouldn't eat it. Okay, Alyssa, why is that? Not to call you out. You don't have to answer, but if you want to, would you or wouldn't you? It's okay to just say, like, I wouldn't. I wanted a burger, but I wouldn't really eat it. It's okay to say those things. Okay. So some of you were saying, oh yes, sushi, Kelsey, I'm with you. All right, how many steps are involved? Maybe it was something that wasn't as healthy as you felt like it should be, so you might not eat it. Okay, I would do it depending on what time and the ingredients. I might pick something super fattening and healthy. That's okay too. Sometimes we need those things. Okay, good. Might try to make it healthier, adding vegetables, but honoring what I want. All right, I like that. And I want to make a point of what Cheryl just said, because really you want to get to a point, and this can come eventually in kind of your food journey, where you know how certain foods make you feel. And so you can eat the foods that you want, but you know, if you add certain things to it, like vegetables, or you make a little tweaks, that you're going to feel better at the end of that meal, right? So you kind of are able to make those matches. Yeah. Or you feel like it's not good for you. And some of these things we just don't do because we kind of have a mindset around certain foods that we just should not have them, right? We're like, I would never eat a burger. I can't eat a full burrito. That would be terrible. And you have to just start approaching all your foods with the same, like treat them all equivalently, to just kind of take the power away from some of those foods. Because some days you're going to want a burger and you eat the burger. But if you were to eat a burger every single day, and it might not be true. I think my husband could eat one every day and he would be fine. But every single day, at some point, you're going to be like, I'm kind of craving a salad. right? You don't end up eating those same foods all the time, especially some of those that we feel are a little bit unhealthier or more fattening. Yes. And you know what? Someone pointed it out, but then I just go wild. So I'm going to work on just having it when I want it. Okay, Cheryl, nice to see you. I know it's recording if you want to get to the end of to the end. So that's another thing though. At some point, really the appeal of a lot of these foods that we think are so bad, but taste delicious, it goes away. It does. When you know you can truly have any food at any time that you want it, why are you going to eat it so much that you feel uncomfortable? Right? Like if you know I could go buy an Oreo or a burger right now if I want to, it's not as exciting. So, hey, a salad actually sounds good. I'm going to eat a salad today. I'll check in with myself later, or I will check in tomorrow and see if I want that food that I was craving. But just denying yourself over and over and over typically doesn't work. So, but it's a good thing to kind of start to create, like, what do I crave? And am I going to make that food match, and why or why not? Yes. Yes, Kelsey, I love that. I know we've talked about it before, but the restriction doesn't typically end up working long-term, right? It really backfires. So learning to honor our body by feeding it, by respecting. You don't have to love everything about yourself or love your body, but we do want to treat it with dignity and respect by feeding it. So that's always a good thing to come back to when you're starting to get when it's becoming a little bit tough. Okay, so let's see what else. Okay, one more thing I wanted to bring up was, how do you eat? And I know we're kind of getting to the end of our time. I will show you a couple more things. So I'm just going to go over one more thing, and then we'll get into some of the lunch. Is how do you eat? Do you sit standing? Do you sit standing? Do you eat standing? Do you sit down and eat? Are you in your car? Are you with your kids? Are you at work? Are you distracted? Are you on the computer? Are you on the phone? Are you reading a book? I've been guilty of all of those things I just said. But what happens when we eat that way? Do we even pay attention to the food that we ate? Not really. It kind of just goes in, and before we even know it, like, did I taste my food? Did I enjoy it? Did it satisfy me? Sometimes when we eat that way, we don't even register that we had a whole meal. If you're grabbing like some cheese, some crackers, some apple, some pasta, you feel like you didn't even have your lunch, which is a total bummer. So I do encourage you as well to even just start. And remember, one step at a time with this. It's not to feel overwhelming. It's just to give you different tools, and whatever speaks to you, you can start there. So maybe you just take your meal, the next meal that you have, and you would challenge yourself to sit down and eat it without distraction for like 2 minutes, 1 minute. If you know you're always busy when you're eating your meal, say, today I'm going to sit here for 1 minute and I'm not going to look at anything but my food, and check in on how I'm doing. How hungry am I? Is this the food I want? What does it taste like? Okay, it's hard to do, but it is rewarding. And the more you do it, the easier and the better it'll get. Okay. All right, so we'll wrap it up in the next few minutes. I do want to make sure we have time for like Q&A. I just wanted to show you a few of my favorite things, okay? Because I do get this question. Let's see, can we see my food? I'm adjusting. You guys were on top of a box. Okay, I get questions about chips and sweets and things. So Trader Joe's is literally one of my favorite spots. Actually, we're just going to go back up here. Sorry, everyone. Hope you're not seasick. I know. Sorry, Mary. Okay. So I love to have salads every day. It's just kind of an easy go-to. And so I will keep my salad. I'm like easy is the first priority. So bagged salad that I enjoy, I keep it back. Like, I'm not chopping up anything. No, not chopping up lettuce. That drives me nuts. But I do chop up peppers, carrots, olives, cucumbers, and then I always have beans in the fridge so that it's just there and ready. So if nothing else, I know I have something that I do enjoy typically. And then if it's kind of like, oh, I'm not totally feeling my salad, I can add some fun stuff to it. So avocado, make it nice and creamy, more satiating. Maybe you add some chips to it. So some corn chips. Don't be scared of chips. Corn chips, you want a little bit of crunch. Tortilla chips work well. Maybe you do some sliced almonds. These are kind of the best crackers ever if no one's had them. They're called the 3-seed sweet potato crackers from Trader Joe's. So amazing. And that can help make your food more satisfying. Because I know sometimes if we just eat like a little bit of meat and some vegetables, sometimes that works. And then sometimes it's just totally not satisfying. If you want some crunch, throw it on there. If you want a little more fat on your meal, throw it on there. Don't be scared. Make your meal so that you're going to feel satisfied mentally and physically, right? We have to hit both of those parts. It's kind of called the sweet spot with the food. Mentally and physically, you want to feel good. And then in terms of sweets, we keep sweets around too. And I know it might sound scary to always have like Oreos or something in your house. But again, I promise if you just keep them around over time, it becomes less scary. So we've got our Joe's. I'm not opposed to regular Oreos by any means. This is just what we have because we went to the store. So some days, maybe you want something sweet like that. You want a cookie and that's the only thing that's going to satisfy you, right? Have you ever tried to like eat an orange or a piece of fruit because you thought, oh, this is sweet and I'll be satisfied, and then you're not? So keep some of those things on hand. So if you're craving it, you can have it, right? You can start with one. Do I want another one? Maybe yes, maybe no. And then other days you can have the fruit if that's what you feel like, but really tuning into and responding to those things that you are craving and responding appropriately. Okay, you would not eat the whole box of Joe's. You might think so, but I promise if you had them all the time, you wouldn't. Okay. Oh yes, chocolate chips, smart. Okay, anybody want to chime in, or do you have any questions for me that I did not address? I know we're totally going over our time. I had a feeling. So I'm glad most of you are still here. I could talk for a long time. So, okay, what else? Oh, ooh, Trader Joe's wasabi seaweed snacks. I like it. Okay. Okay, and we addressed, if I snack at a party and eat standing up, I will eat all night long and never feel satisfied. That is so true. How many of us have done that too? At a party, like the mindless, you're like with other people and you're talking and you felt like you never ate, but you ate for like 5 hours. I do the same thing. So I do try to put it on a plate. I try. It doesn't always happen. But that's a really good point, Lindsay. Yes, good. So she was saying, try to sit for family meals, more satisfying, put food on a plate. I love that. Sitting down with your family. It's really good bonding. Yes. Okay, good. All right. I know this was kind of a lot of information. I don't want to feel like we're rushed at the end, but we are at 1:06. So if there's anything else, or if anybody has questions later, you can always message me. We do the nutrition groups every few months, and then I work with people one-on-one. So if anything spoke out to you, you can always reach out to me and we can set something up as well. All right. Everyone feeling good? Oh, I like that, Anne-Marie. Yeah. Are the movies even open anymore? I'm not sure they are. All right, you guys. Well, we will sign off for today. I'm going to go actually eat my salad. I was going to make it in front of you, but that got a little messy. So I'm going to go ahead and go eat. And I hope you all had a really good time. It was so fun to see all of your faces. I will see you in class, and hopefully you'll walk away with some little nugget that sticks with you. All right, you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Lauren. That was awesome.
You're welcome. Thanks, Jessica. See ya. Bye, Val. Bye, Lindsay B. What you eating, Lindsay B? Dawn, I'll get back to you on that, okay? Bye, Evelyn, Tracy, Aaron, and Leslie. All right. Oops. Oh, good.